Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Sejanus' fall. We're getting close-ish to the end. We're going to get to hear from Arruntius today in Act 5, Scene 8, and there's only 10 scenes in Act 5, but you know how these histories go. We're going to get a bunch of monologues at the end. But yesterday we finished off with Act 5, Scene 6, and today we're in Act 5, Scene 8, so we need to cover off Act 5, Scene 7 as well. And what's a little bit interesting, both Act 5, Scene 7 and Scene 8 are sort of short, and it's reminiscent of some other history plays, like when we get to the battle at the end of the play, when there's this little snippet happening on this side of the battlefield and this little snippet happening on that side of the battlefield, and you get these little sort of like rapid fire scenes where time is passing quickly but sort of in real time, and they could be interspersed with each other, just like a rapid succession. So I just think that's what that reminded me of, a bunch of short scenes towards the end of the play. Feels almost warlike, which is maybe appropriate. But anyway, where we are, Sejanus had some issues when he tried to pay tribute or make a sacrifice to the goddess Fortune, and for a moment his faith was maybe a little bit shaken, but then Macro showed up and was like, you are going to be given all the tribunal powers at this Senate meeting that's being called. So Sejanus ended Act 5, Scene 6, saying that he was stupid to be afraid of anything. He is the greatest person to ever exist. Oh, you puny, silly gods, look out, because here I come, sort of thing. He's feeling very invincible. Act 5, Scene 7, we have a whole bunch of Sejanus followers, his allies, coming together, and it's like a gossip circle. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Bye Bye Birdie, but that whole first scene where they're on the phone with each other and all the gossip is spreading, it sort of reminds me of that. So we have Pomponius and Regulus and Trio entering like from one side, and we have Terentius and Cotta and Minutius and Laco and Latrius entering from another side, and they're all like, what's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. And Cotta is like, well, at today's meeting, this thing is going to happen with Sejanus. And Trio's like, shush, you're not supposed to tell anybody. But everybody else is like, tell me more, tell me more. So Cotta finally lets it spill that Sejanus is going to be getting these tribunal powers, and they're all like, oh, Sejanus is so great, Sejanus is so great. And Sejanus comes in and he's like walking on air at this point. He's like, is everything ready for me? And they all do their best to kiss his butts and make sure that he knows that they're the ones that are doing things that are helpful. And I love it. Laco says to him at one point, he starts in, oh, your worship, if it would be helpful. And Sejanus just responds saying, no, you are troublesome, which for some reason that just tickles me. And then he moves on, and the scene just basically ends with all of his allies, who were his allies before, saying how great Sejanus is, what an honor this is for him. And even Laco is like, yes, still very much side Sejanus. Act 5, Scene 8, we are outside the Temple of Apollo, and as the senators are coming in for this meeting, and we have Arruntius and Lepidus standing sort of watching them come in and commenting on it like they do. We've got Arruntius, he's like, go on, you silly senators, make sure you get in there so you can, worship the almighty Sejanus, that great guy Sejanus, make sure you get in there as quick as you can. And then he turns to Lepidus and he's like, you thought that Sejanus was going to suffer some big fall at some point. He was going to get his comeuppance. Do you still think that that's going to happen? Like, look at how many people are lining up and falling all over themselves to get into this meeting where he's going to get all these honors. Like, do you still think he's going to fall? And Lepidus is like, well, I do wonder at some of this. It seems maybe a little off, maybe a little strange. And Arruntius responds, aye, and that we must give our suffrage to it. You will say, it is to make his fall more steep and grievous. It may be so, but think it. They that can, with idle wishes, say to bring back time. In cases desperate, all hope is crime. See? What troops of his officious friends flock to salute my lord, and start before my great proud lord, to get a lord-like nod, attend my lord unto the Senate house, bring back my lord, like servile ushers, Make way for my lord! Proclaim his idle lordship! More than 10 criers or 6 noise of trumpets. Make legs, kiss hands, and take a scattered hair from my lord's eminent shoulder. See? Sequinius, with his slow belly and his dropsy, look what toiling haste he makes. Yet here's another, retarded with the gout, will be afore him. Get thee Liburnian porters, thou gross fool, to bear thy obsequious fatness like thy peers. They are met, the gout returns, and his great carriage. So this is Arruntius being very cynical about all of this and very pithy about all of this. He's like, yeah, the other weird thing about this is that we have to be here for it. And he's like, but we can hope that he will fall at some point, but hope is a silly thing and probably not the best route for us to go at this point. And then he's like, it's ridiculous for us to think that he might fall, because look at how many people are following him and bowing to him and kissing his hand and saluting him and wanting to serve him and wanting to get a lock of his hair is like a token. And then Sequinius and Haterius pass over the stage, and Arruntius comments look at Sequinius, he can barely move, he can barely walk. And here's somebody else who's got gout and is slowed down by his gout. They can barely even move to get in there, but they're falling all over themselves to get in and see Sejanus be honored. This is ridiculousness. And then a whole bunch more people come through, Regulus and Trio and Sejanus and Satrius, and they're all like, make way for Sejanus, make way for Sejanus, and everybody's crying hail to Sejanus. And Arruntius and Lepidus continue playing the parts of Waldorf and Statler, looking down on the senators and making fun of the senators as they enter, until they are like, okay, fine, I guess we gotta go into. So they go into. And that's the end of Act 5, Scene 8. So we've had a lot of build-up to this meeting that we will be getting to shortly. But yeah, kind of interesting that some of these scenes are short, sort of rapid fire little snippets of time, not necessarily moving plot forward, but building the suspense and building the scene. It's almost like we're preparing for war. So do you think we're gonna fit a war in the last couple scenes of this play? Either an actual one or a metaphorical one? Come on back tomorrow for more and we'll find out. Mwah.